Imagine living a life where pain, death, and poverty hold no fear for you. A life where your only concern is to live virtuously and fulfill your potential. This is the essence of Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher, is renowned for his work, Meditations. The concept of being a great person might be abstract, but Marcus is arguably one of the most deserving of this title in history. This isn't a self-help video, but the philosophy Marcus introduced can address many contemporary issues, and I aim to show you how. To understand his teachings, let's explore the historical context. Marcus Aurelius ruled as Roman emperor from 161 AD to 180 AD. He was the last of the 5 so-called good emperors, presiding over the era known as the Pax Romana, a time of relative peace and stability within the Roman Empire. The Pax Romana concluded with his death. During his reign, Marcus faced numerous challenges that tested his Stoic resolve, including the Marcomannic Wars, a series of conflicts against Germanic tribes, and the Antonine Plague, a devastating pandemic that significantly impacted the empire. As emperor, Marcus was the most powerful man in the world, with the Romans having little concept of territories beyond their empire, making him the ruler of the known world. As the most powerful man of his time, Marcus could indulge in any desire, yet he chose a path of virtue. The life of a Roman emperor was synonymous with hedonism, indulging in money, sex, wine, and other pleasures. Such indulgences were almost expected. Thus, any vice imaginable was within Aurelius's reach. He was unrestrained by money, law, custom, or ethics. Nothing could prevent him from fulfilling his wildest desires. Yet, despite these boundless circumstances, Marcus chose a life of virtue. He chose to be consistently good throughout his 19-year reign. Being good doesn't automatically make you great, but imagine facing limitless temptations and choosing virtue, not for acclaim or recognition, but purely for the sake of being good. That is truly remarkable. Consider if you were in his position for nearly 20 years. Could you resist temptation daily, knowing there would be no consequences for any action you took? What would you do? How would you behave? I know I couldn't live up to the example set by Marcus. Let's delve into his personal reflections captured in his journal, Meditations, which reveal how he applied Stoic principles in his life. Meditations, a book by Marcus Aurelius, was initially his personal journal. It documents his navigation through life, divided into 12 parts and covering about 150 pages. The title, Meditations, was assigned by publishers, but Marcus never intended for these writings to be read by others. They were his deepest confessions and beliefs. Even though it was written spontaneously, Meditations is one of the most powerful and moving books ever created. The best way to appreciate Meditations is to read it yourself. Copies are available in nearly every library and bookstore worldwide. However, for this video, there are a few ideas worth examining. Marcus Aurelius believed in living according to nature. By nature, he referred to plants and animals, but also the natural order of the universe. Trees grow because that is their purpose. They grow as large and beautiful as they can, not for praise or validation, but because that is their nature. A caterpillar becomes a butterfly, and a frail chick becomes an eagle, not out of desire, but because they are meant to. Similarly, Marcus believed that humans must fulfill their potential. He did not believe in accumulating riches or accolades. Nature made you human, and it is your duty to be the kindest, most virtuous human possible. For Marcus, this was the pinnacle of human achievement, and unfulfilled potential was the darkest place one could descend to. A key Stoic principle is that while you cannot control external events, you can control your reactions to them. No matter what happens, a great person weathers the storm and lives up to their fullest potential. This is your duty as a human. As emperor, Marcus dealt with numerous challenges, including evil and adversity. Above all, he believed that evil, wicked or bad people were a part of our universe. Asking for a world without them is like asking for a vine without thorns. Bad people exist, and you will encounter them. Marcus believed in kindness and thought that people never intentionally did wrong. It was out of ignorance. While you can try to teach them, it is not always possible. You cannot control if the universe sends you immoral, wicked or lazy people, and often you cannot help them. Marcus advised looking inward. He reminded himself that he had faults too and was in no position to judge others. On a different day, perhaps he would be the ignorant one. Sometimes you simply do not understand the full picture. The thief who steals to feed his family might not be wrong. You just don't understand. So don't judge. He believed we were all born for each other, much like trees grow fruit for animals. Just as a tree grows fruit for animals to eat and animals die to feed worms, we are made to help each other. This is our duty, and failing to do so is the only true failure in life. We all face adversity, and Marcus was no exception. Just as encountering bad people is part of life, so is facing adversity. You cannot control what happens, but you can control how you react. Marcus advised not to pray for bad things not to happen, as that's futile. Instead, be ready to meet adversity when it comes. Don't feel sorry for yourself or mope. Feel fortunate that you have the tools and spirit to endure. Bear events bravely and persist. When you do, you'll realize that what seemed bad was an opportunity to rise above and move forward. When adversity comes, don't complain. Act and endure. If an unendurable event comes, don't disgrace yourself. All men die, but not all die complaining. Despite his wealth, Marcus Aurelius didn't see material possessions as inherently bad. He was cautious with his relationship to his belongings. He could have had anything: money, houses, art, wine. But he chose not to dream of physical things. These are meaningless and don't fulfill your potential. Reflect on and value what you have, but don't become so attached that you would be despondent if they disappeared. These things don't make you more virtuous or kind. Your potential is higher than that. He spent considerable time contemplating death, viewing it as a natural part of life. His views were simple. It's inevitable. Don't fear death or mortality. Nature has assigned us to be good and reach our potential, but also to die. Death is a duty. While you're here, live fully, be kind, be good, and then die, as death is part of our role in nature. Marcus, along with others, was a forebearer of Stoicism. The Stoics believed in many things, covering logic, ethics, and more. Central to their philosophy is the distinction between pleasure and happiness. Money, fame, and success provide fleeting pleasure, but true happiness is deeper, a state of being from within. It doesn't come from worldly things. To achieve happiness, live a life of virtue and continually better yourself. The only true failure is not achieving your potential. Being great is your duty and nature. In conclusion, Stoicism teaches that true wisdom and virtue come from living in alignment with nature, focusing on what we can control, our thoughts and actions. At its core, Stoicism teaches that the only things within our control are our thoughts and actions, and that we should strive to live a life of virtue in accordance with reason. The main tenets include wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Their only fear is neglecting their moral duties. Pain, death, poverty, or life's various challenges do not intimidate them. Their true fear lies in disappointing themselves and failing to be fully human. He once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." One notable example of Marcus's Stoicism was during the betrayal by his general, Avidius Cassius. In 175 AD, Cassius declared himself emperor and led a rebellion against Marcus Aurelius. This act of treason was a profound betrayal, as Cassius had been a trusted general and close ally. Naturally, Marcus felt hurt and angry. The initial reaction might have been to seek revenge, to crush Cassius and make an example out of him. However, Marcus decided to take a different approach, staying true to his Stoic principles. Instead of reacting impulsively and with vengeance, he maintained his composure and integrity. He continued to govern diligently, focusing on the well-being of the empire rather than being consumed by thoughts of revenge. He instructed his forces to advance towards the rebels with the intention of quelling the rebellion, but not with unnecessary cruelty. When Cassius was assassinated by his own soldiers before Marcus could reach him, the emperor's reaction was telling. Marcus did not celebrate the death of his rival. Instead, he showed clemency and forgiveness to those who had supported Cassius. He even mourned the loss of his former friend, reflecting his belief that revenge was not the answer. Marcus Aurelius chose to rise above the betrayal, demonstrating mercy and understanding rather than perpetuating a cycle of violence and retribution. This event illustrates Aurelius's lesson that the best revenge is to be unlike those who perform the injury. By responding with dignity and clemency, Marcus Aurelius preserved his integrity and demonstrated his strength of character. He set an example for his contemporaries and for future generations, showing that true power lies not in revenge, but in maintaining one's virtues even in the face of betrayal. Let's discuss about this quote. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Despite the turbulence of his reign, Marcus maintained a positive mindset, understanding that his thoughts shaped his soul. He faced daunting challenges, including wars on multiple fronts, a devastating plague, and political unrest. These circumstances could have easily led him to despair and negativity. However, Marcus Aurelius understood the importance of maintaining a positive and virtuous mindset, knowing that his thoughts would shape his soul and, ultimately, his actions. In the midst of the Marcomannic Wars, Marcus spent long periods away from Rome, leading his troops in harsh conditions. The constant threat of battle, the burden of leadership, and the distance from his family could have overwhelmed him with negative thoughts. However, instead of succumbing to these pressures, he chose to nurture a mindset of resilience and virtue. Every day, Marcus engaged in practices that fostered positive thoughts. He maintained a daily routine of self-reflection and journaling, which later became his famous work. In these writings, he reminded himself of the importance of virtues like courage, patience, and wisdom. He reflected on the transient nature of life, the value of each moment, and the importance of staying true to one's principles. By consistently choosing to focus on positive and virtuous thoughts, he cultivated a resilient spirit. His soul became dyed with the color of these thoughts, enabling him to lead with wisdom and integrity. His leadership during these tumultuous times was marked by his ability to remain calm, composed, and fair, inspiring his soldiers and citizens alike. This example from Aurelius' life demonstrates the profound impact of our thoughts on our overall well-being and actions. By nurturing virtuous and positive thoughts, he was able to maintain his integrity and lead effectively, even in the most challenging circumstances. This story illustrates the importance of inner work and self-reflection in personal growth, as our thoughts truly shape who we are and how we navigate the world. Now let's talk about one of his best quotes. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. During the Antonine Plague, Marcus demonstrated stoicism through decisive and compassionate actions. Fear and panic spread as resources dwindled and daily life was disrupted. Politicians and philosophers engaged in endless debates about the best course of action, and what it meant to be a good leader and person in such a crisis. Instead of getting caught up in these debates, he chose to act decisively. Believing that actions spoke louder than words, he focused on leading by example. Despite the personal risk, he continued to fulfill his duties, addressing the immediate needs of his people. Marcus organized and funded public health measures, including sanitation efforts and medical aid, to help curb the spread of the disease. He demonstrated compassion and empathy by providing support to those affected, allocating funds to help the families of the deceased, and ensuring that aid was distributed fairly and efficiently. His actions reflected the Stoic principles he cherished: duty, resilience, and the common good. By choosing action over debate, Aurelius showed that a good leader is defined not by philosophical discussions, but by their commitment to the well-being of their people. He exemplified that true goodness is found in how one lives and acts, especially in times of crisis. His response to the Antonine Plague earned him the respect and admiration of his contemporaries. People saw him as a beacon of stability and virtue. His actions spoke volumes about his character, demonstrating that true leadership and morality are about embodying virtues through decisive and compassionate action. This example from Aurelius's life highlights the importance of living out one's values. By focusing on what needed to be done and acting with integrity, he exemplified the Stoic ideal of being a good person. This story serves as a powerful reminder that we should strive to embody the virtues we believe in, making a positive impact through our actions rather than merely debating their merits. Now let's move on to one of my favorite quotes by Marcus Aurelius. "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." These words by Marcus Aurelius encapsulate a practice that sustained him through the challenges of his reign as a wise and kind Roman emperor. Imagine Marcus waking up early in his tent on a cold, foggy morning. The air is chilly, and the muffled sounds of soldiers stirring outside signal the start of a new day. Instead of immediately jumping into the day's tasks, Marcus takes a few quiet moments for himself. He sits up, closes his eyes, and breathes deeply, contemplating the privilege of being alive. He feels a deep sense of gratitude for the new day and the chance to do his best. Marcus thinks about his ability to reason and make decisions. He feels fortunate that he can use his mind to solve problems and guide his people. As he wraps his cloak tighter around himself, he takes pleasure in its warmth and listens to the distant birdsong. These simple things bring him a sense of peace and happiness. His thoughts turn to his family back in Rome. Although he misses them dearly, he feels grateful for their love and support. This thought fills his heart with warmth, giving him the strength to face the challenges ahead. When Marcus steps out of his tent, he smiles and greets his soldiers, encouraging them to also reflect on the good things in their lives. His positive attitude is contagious, lifting their spirits despite the cold and the looming battles. Throughout the day, Marcus finds moments to appreciate the good around him, whether discussing strategies with his generals or sharing a meal with his men. He takes a moment to be grateful. This habit helps him stay calm and focused, enhancing his leadership. One evening, after a long and exhausting day, Marcus gathers his soldiers around the campfire. He shares a simple yet profound message. Every morning, they should remember how lucky they are to be alive, to think, to enjoy, and to love. This mindset, he explains, can give them strength and help them endure even the toughest times. The soldiers listen intently, taking his advice to heart. They begin their own practice of morning gratitude, finding small things to appreciate each day. This shift in attitude helps them stay strong and united, even in the face of adversity. By focusing on gratitude, Marcus maintained his strength and inspired those around him. His practice of appreciating life's blessings showed that even in the hardest times, there is always something to be thankful for. This lesson of finding strength in gratitude continues to inspire people today. In conclusion, Marcus Aurelius's life and teachings offer timeless wisdom that can guide us through our own challenges. By striving to live virtuously, focusing on what we can control, and responding to adversity with resilience, we can lead a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Marcus Aurelius's example reminds us that true greatness comes from within, from living a life aligned with our highest values. If you found this exploration of Stoicism inspiring, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for more philosophical insights, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps us continue to bring you content that enriches your life. Thank you for watching.